Hi, I'm Adam C and welcome to a Swiss secret. We are at the best collection of cars that I have ever seen. This is Rinspeed. Let me tell you more. Rinspeed was founded in 1979 by Frank, who has invited us here into the private collection of vehicles. They launched with a Volkswagen Golf Turbo based on a Mark II Golf GTI with square grille and headlights in 1979. Then they created the Rinspeed Alley Porter, a Golf with 6 square headlights and gull-wing doors inspired by the DeLorean. They became the exclusive Swiss importer of AMG and AC Schnitzer vehicles in the 80s, and then finally launched their 939 Targa, but with a 928 front and rear end in 1983. Then they launched the 969 Turbo that you might recognize, inspired by the Testarossa, but with 944 front and rear ends in 1985. Then they created their own Dodge Viper Veleno in 93, as well as a custom 300ZX and EB110 in the 90s. But from 1991, they created a concept car every single year up to the year 2022 to present new ideas to the automotive world. Now they're more focused in micro and city mobility, but it's the concept cars that I'm wanting to show you here today. We're going to start at the old and then head into the contemporary cars. I can't wait. So this was their first concept vehicle, the Rinspeed Roadster. We've got about 10 vehicles on this floor, more underneath, and then later in the video, we're going to go to a local museum in Lucerne where the final 6 vehicles are located, which I again cannot wait to show you. But we'll start with the Roadster, where they began with their crazy, and I mean crazy, concept vehicles. So the Roadster R and the SCR, which this is, being the supercharged variant, is one of the only Rinspeed products to ever make production. They made 5 of these. It's been crafted from aircraft quality aluminium, inspired by classics of the 60s, but modernized with a 5-litre V8 from Ford. Obviously this one's supercharged with 305 horsepower, whereas the NA examples have 218. Have a look at that interior. Quirky is a word that shall be used a lot today. It's got front suspension with unequal length double wishbones and then a rear live axle linked to the chassis 4 times. I hope to have a quick chat with Frank before we go to the museum about how this is all funded, because a concept car every year, some of these cars cost over $1.5 million to produce, but some of the ways they are able to fund these projects is by creating innovative designs, such as these twin projector headlights on the Roadster. So they demonstrated a new and innovative element for motorcycles, so that is a reason to fund these concept cars. So we'll see various brands that Rinspeed have partnered with to help create these concept vehicles, and we next go downstairs to another Rinspeed Roadster, this one I believe to be naturally aspirated, and the next car, this one, the Rocket. So this has been inspired by Salt Flat record holders, the Ego Rocket from 1998. It was actually built in Florida, but then shipped back to Rinspeed. It's got radio, CD player, sat-nav, but it's only a single-seater, which will be a theme that we see. It's got a supercharged aluminium V8 with 410 horsepower, so the same Ford V8 is in the middle of this car, with its composite bodywork giving only 1,050 kilograms as its total weight. We're going to play a lot of guess the headlight and rear light today. See if you can recognize this on the Ego Rocket. We've got the exhaust pipes from Remus, but it's just this front screen here and the blending of the wing mirrors. It's just absolutely incredible. Very 90s, the Ego Rocket. But the next year, in 1999, they went completely bonkers and came up with this, the X-Trem M.U.V, multi-utility vehicle based on a Mercedes M-Class, and they've kept some of that Mercedes design language. I think they're E-Class headlights potentially, but it's still got its 5.5 litre V8, 347 horsepower. But as you move over the double bubble electronically adjustable windscreens, you can see your M-Class dashboard there. But we're actually avoiding the main USP of this car, and that is this system. So Frank felt that so many people in America were not using their pickups for their intended purpose, and that's because it's difficult to hoist a vehicle into the bed of a truck. So this system has made it possible. So these bars double as an anti-roll bar, but are called the Extra Lift. They are EU road approved and universal lifting devices to get items in and out of the bed of a pickup truck. And he's used the extreme M.U.V to push that idea forward into the industry, and on the back of it was at the time the smallest functional hovercraft ever. So that's what you're seeing on the back of the car with its quirky rear lights. They look like aftermarket Volkswagen Beetle lights from the modern Beetle. Also, look at your door. Yeah, that's right, it's a door. So maybe excuse it for its quirky looks, but it all serves a purpose. This to allow you to remove and add various heavy objects onto the bed of your pickup, or ute as this kind of is. The two-seater, roofless Mercedes ML class based vehicle. But combating against the quirky looks of the previous year's car, this is what they came up with a year later. This is the Rinspeed Tattoo.com. Obviously a clue to one of its sponsors to help create it. So it still has the system to add and remove heavy objects in the back, their extra lift system, but has been done in a little bit less harsh design. Now, I just have to say, this thing here, this is Bob, B-O-B, a breathing observation bubble. So you stick your head in there, it's basically a scuba device, and we'll come to scuba a little bit later. No mouthpiece, no regulator, so that's where you sit your t***y. You hold onto your handlebars there with your head stuck through, and that's what's lifted in and out of this car, which was inspired by US hot rodding scenes. For example, it doesn't have door handles, it's just got the button to open them via remote control. And have a look at this mamba snake leather interior. So this has a 5.7 litre aluminium V8 with 409 horsepower. It's got pneumatic suspension to keep the vehicle leveled perfectly at all times as well. But after a car that we will see in the museum later, they created this that you might have seen at the start. And I'm just going to point your attention to the rear seats. Don't worry, that is not a problem in the slightest. I hope you can recognize this is the Rinspeed Presto from 2002. Based on a Mercedes A-Class, you can actually see the rear lights and the headlights are Mercedes, and then the dashboard and the seats, they're from an A-Class. The seats, I think, are from a smart car, but this car is 3 meters long. But at the push of a button, it can extend by 746 millimeters, making it 3.74 meters long. As you can see, the Presto gets bigger to allow for passenger space in the back, or you could put the seats down and have it more as storage. So a car that goes from being a tiny smart car size car to a fully extended 4-seater. The floor pan does have all its necessary rigidity for a Roadster. Don't you worry by that, it having not a roof. And also safety latches, self-locking, are in these extending bars. So it's got 2 mechanical gears to help its low friction precision rollers move electronically to extend the length of this car. It's got a Mercedes-based 4-cylinder 1.7 litre turbo diesel that can run on a mixture of natural gases and diesel at a 40:60 ratio. And as well as these rear lights being from Mercedes, they can write its name Presto when lit. They also secrete a camera at the rear for safety. A lot of these cars have been built for innovations towards safety and even future-proofing and eco-friendliness. Imagine coming across something like this on the road and then seeing it just roll backwards to extend to allow your passengers to sit in the back of the Presto. But 2 years later, after another car we'll see later on, they created the Rinspeed Splash. Now imagine this car in blue. This was featured on Top Gear, was driven by Richard Hammond. This is a road-going hydrofoil. So again, at the push of the button, this rear spoiler retracts down, and the car, once in water, is lifted and skids along, as you can see, above the surface and has a Guinness World Record for doing so. So it can effectively fly at 60 centimeters above the water, lifting the hull out of water to reduce drag and increase efficiency, allowing for a smoother ride. The top speed of about 80 kilometers an hour, which is about 45 knots. So you've got all the cooling behind the seats there. It's got a 750cc two-cylinder snowmobile engine with 140 horsepower, 5.9 seconds it can reach 60 miles an hour in. With its chrome wheels. The design is a bit barbaric, but theoretically speaking, this car would set you back 900,000 euros for the Rinspeed Splash. Now 2 years later, after another car we'll see later, they created this, the Rinspeed zaZen, which is, well, are you feeling the Zen?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is insane.
So zaZen is obviously a Zen inspired name. This car is meant to be a Zen to drive based on a Porsche 911 997 generation Carrera S. So it's still got the 355 horsepower Boxer 6-cylinder engine, but this new Macrolon plastic is what the car has been used to promote. And you'll notice here, it's got the shape for a brake light that's projected onto the rear end. So it's got a projected brake light, so you have entirely full visibility all the way around the car, not even with a brake light in the way. You can recognise the Porsche 911 interior. We've got sparkly white paintwork, and then even, that's rubber. That is rubber, look at that. So there's your polycarbonate roof for so much visibility. And then you've got this wood effects here as well, a Zen place to be and to drive. They use a lot of manual gearboxes, obviously taken over from the Porsche 911, but we'll see a lot of manual gearboxes. I mean, these lights remind me of the Ferrari 612 Scaglietti, but it's got an entirely different front end all the way round to the rear as well. This shape down to the back, and then this rear end is very different to the 997 generation Porsche 911. With these crystal diamond looking rear lights and then the Zen name in the back. But from inside, it is so airy. I mean, there's no rear view mirror and the seats are quite firm despite them being rubbery, but it still smells like a 997 inside. But to take Bayer's Macrolon plastic even further, they created this, the eXasis, which I might not have said right, which is an entirely plastic bodied car. It's a two-seater. The driver sits in front of the passenger, and there's your steering. Well, it's not a wheel. So yellow tinted hard coating is on this car. It's got an aluminium chassis, so only weighs 750 kilograms. This one isn't manual, it's 6-speed sequential, and the shifts are made via a small black toggle just down by your right leg, just there. Then in the back we've got a 150 horsepower engine, a turbo 2-cylinder that runs on bioethanol. But a year later, in 2008, is when they produced their most recognizable and famous car. This is the Rinspeed sQuba. Yes, that's right, you can tell by the image behind it, this car can drive underwater and has done. It's a functioning prototype that cost over $1.5 million to produce. Frank was inspired, of course, by Roger Moore's Lotus Esprit in The Spy Who Loved Me in 1977, the world's first land and underwater car. So of course, Series 2 Lotus Elise is the platform that was used. And you may be wondering why they went for an open top. Well, for two very good reasons. First of all, it's a lot safer to get out the car without the roof on. You can get out as soon as you can. The second reason is buoyancy. If this had a roof, the car would need to be a lot heavier to sink down to the underwater levels by about 2 tons. So 2 tons in extra weight would be required if this had a roof. But have a look at that interior, all fully waterproofed, of course, and you can tell it has been underwater. So what you do is you drive your car onto the water and it floats, and you simply open the doors to allow water to gush on in, and that will help the car sink to 10 meters below the sea level. We've got integrated air tanks there that you can plumb into yourself to help yourself breathe underwater whilst you are driving your car down into the depths. So it actually makes sense that they used a Lotus Elise to do this. Obviously white, the same color as James Bond's Lotus Esprit, but without the roof to make it safer and easier to be possible to go underwater. And it's propelled by, you've got the jets there at the front, and then at the rear, in place of its exhaust where they would be, it has propellers. But underneath your engine cover, gone is your traditional Lotus engine, because you do not want to submerge a combustion engine underwater. It will suck in water and it will completely destroy itself. So this has 3 electric motors at the rear. 1 that powers the car for when it's on the road, and then 2 for when it is underwater. So its top land speed is 75 miles an hour. Underwater it can get 3 kilometers an hour, which is about 1.6 knots. Or above water, that's 6 kilometers an hour, or 3.2 knots. It's not just your standard Lotus, you've got aftermarket headlights, everything. The whole body is finished in this satin paintwork here that's actually been salt waterproof. Not just waterproof, but the interior and the paintwork is salt waterproof in this car, with the idea that it can go and does go and has gone into the sea. But how do you follow a car that can submerge underwater? Well, Rinspeed created this, the iChange, as a bit of a change themselves. First of all, can you recognize these? Yep, Vauxhall insignia or Opel insignia. But the main USP of this car is this setup. So it can be either a single-seater or a 3-seater. So when your door closes, this is kind of the door, the canopy, the dome roof closes. If it's all the way down, this can lower down to make it the most aerodynamic it can be for just your single driver. But if you want to have 2 passengers in the rear, this raises up to roughly where it is now, so that the dome doesn't intrude in headroom for the 2 rear seats. And that is its USP. The wheels are inspired by classic Bugatti, apparently, and this was at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, I think in 2009. It's got a 201 horsepower electric motor, 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds, and controls inside can be controlled by your iPhone. So that's why you've got an iPhone mounted there, a period correct from 2009, I think 4 maybe?
The only issue is that iPhones did get a bit bigger.
Wow, I hate big phones, and that's awful. Look at this bag, it's part of the luggage set. That's amazing. Rear lights, these are from a Vauxhall Astra twin tail apparently. But after the iChange, we move over to this, you see. This is the Rinspeed UC, question mark, you see? This was the first attempt at their microcars and city motion cars. This car has the potential to dock into a train, and as part of its interface is you kind of get in touch with the train and book your slots whilst you're driving along, and then you drive into the train to then make the rest of your journey after you've got out of the city. But you might have noticed, no steering wheel. It's got a joystick to control the car in the middle down there with force feedback as well. This car was intended to reach production, and here are all the sponsors and partners for the production of this tiny little city car. It's just 2.5 meters long, so half a meter shorter than your Mercedes over there before it even extends. So it's got its own inbuilt 3G internet system, which is how you can communicate with the trains. You've got the seat backs from a desk chair there, and then I recognise the bases there of the seats, but someone else might be able to tell me. That door, that's Fiat 500, isn't it? Yeah. That's the Fiat 500. That's Fiat 500. It makes sense, but it's even smaller than a 500. Yeah, you can definitely see the curvature of the Fiat 500 in its design. The Rinspeed UC. It's got a 75-mile range, top speed of 68 miles an hour. It's a city car. It's a great idea. You use this to drive around the city, clean, small, electric, then you can get onto a train with your car and then take it back home miles away. They're all so innovative, and there's more to see. Because we go from Fiat 500 to the headlight of a Mini Cooper, this is the Rinspeed Bamboo. So a lot of the interior, which is quirky in itself, has used bamboo fibers to create it. Obviously the tray here, that's made of bamboo. It's been produced as a beach car. And I don't know, they might be Suzuki Swift rear lights, or maybe they're something similar. It's got your 2 spare wheels in the back. You can fold up the rear seats for it to be a 4-seater, but it's got a few more party tricks up its sleeve. For example, the front here, you can write messages to your fellow road users. So, I mean, middle lane hoggers will be getting a 4-letter message. There's more features as well, because around the back of this car, on the rollover bars, apparently has something called a Rizzy bird. So they can turn green if you're single, blue if you're in a party mood, or orange if you need a break. You've got the roof here, a canopy-like roof that's been developed by a Swiss company called Technote. And of course, being Swiss, a Swiss Army knife to turn it on and off. So obviously this is a front-wheel drive electric motor car with 72 horsepower, top speed of 75 miles an hour and a 65-mile range. Now for the next car, we're going to go to something fairly recognisable, but not. So obviously starting life out as a smart car, but we have front headlights. I think they might be Daihatsu headlights. Someone in the comments could let me know. This is an electric smart car called the Dock+Go. And on the rear here, this is your dock. So it's got an inactive chassis there, so that's not powered by anything, but you can dock it onto your car, and this can either be extra luggage or a range extender, more battery power for long distance journeys, or anything. It's all concept. I think it's a great idea. So you can drive around in your 4-wheeled smart car, electric car around the city, and then when you need extra space, extra range for a longer journey, a different journey, you just dock and you go. So it's actually probably smarter than a smart car itself. So there's a lot of smart car and Mercedes technologies used in Rinspeed. They say it's basically a backpack on wheels, is the Rinspeed Dock+Go from 2012. It's raining, so to get out of the rain, we've headed further downstairs to what originally just looks like a Tesla Model S, because that's what it started life as. But 5 years before Tesla offered driverless cars themselves, Rinspeed did in 2014 with this, the Rinspeed XchangE. And as part of it being driverless, well, the interior needs to convert to when you're not having to drive. So these seats swivel around 180 degrees if you want, and you've got drive-by-wire, so you can actually move the steering wheel into the center when you don't need it. So this started Rinspeed's obsession for driverless cars and trying to develop that technology and work out better creature comforts for passengers inside the car, starting life as his Model S. And then the next year in 2015, Rinspeed took a BMW i3, that's what this was, and did it all again, but as a city car. So again, drive-by-wire, and that entire steering wheel system is completely bespoke. But the steering on this car can be done by either the driver or the passenger. It's on a motorized arm that swivels so you can move where it is for when you're city driving and you get a bit tired. That's the idea. And obviously the screen can swivel as well. But in the back, you no longer have rear seats. They've been converted into a rack for 2 mini electric vehicles that can carry you to complete your journey for shorter distances. And then on top of the car, which is called the Budii, this car, is the sensor that detects what you're driving towards, and this can raise up to 70 centimeters to see the road ahead. It's got touch sensors here, so you open the doors via touch. And then the natural development from a BMW i3 is to go to a BMW i8. Yes, that is right. So gone is the BMW kidney grille, and now instead we've got Hamilton in its place.
I'm really sorry, but this is just so cool.
He thinks this is the coolest and best looking car. So it's still got the doors of the i8, but another driverless car. So it's got its petrol electric hybrid drivetrain still from the i8, but that steering wheel collapses down completely because again, it's drive-by-wire. So you can put the steering wheel away when you don't use it. You can see how it collapses down into the dashboard. So gone completely when you don't need to use it. But at the rear is where this comes a little bit interesting, not least because of its rear lights that are retained but look very different from the i8. But this pad here is to land your DJI drone onto. So Rinspeed decided that a drone would be very useful for maybe seeing the traffic ahead. All very innovative with your camera, wing mirrors and more leather on the front. But with our next car from 2018, we remain to be just as bonkers because it's got a little garden on the dashboard. No actual purpose, just showing that you could do. You could have little bonsai trees here, you could grow radishes, they say, but that's not actually its USP. This is another driverless car. As you can probably tell, it's got full white custom interior armchairs. So the entire base of this car is to make it as comfortable as a passenger as possible. Just a two-seater. The car even takes pictures itself to keep your Instagram followers up to date. So you can see how they moved with the times in 2017 with this, the Rinspeed Oasis concept car. And then in front of that, in 2018, is the Rinspeed Snap, which is moving towards where they're heading now. So if you can imagine, this whole unit here docks onto its skateboard chassis. It's the chassis that does the driving, absolutely driverless, and then you can swap over this body to make it into a van, for example, or just live in it and then send that off to get charged whilst you're living in your space. So 4 passengers, they've all got their own screens, even more plants here, we've got cup holders. So this, in 2018, was the future of driving. Now, unfortunately, the industry isn't moving as fast as Rinspeed hoped, so with later projects that they are building, they're moving away from driverless, but keeping the technology there, so it's ready for when the infrastructure is ready for it. So the next year, they created the microSNAP, which is just next door to us. So that is just the van, or the passenger compartment. I think that one is a van, and then here is a passenger compartment on its dock. So basically a smaller version of the Snap. And now finally bringing us up to speed, Rinspeed's own startup. This is the CitySnap is the concept, but this is a car that does get driven by a driver. I mean, it's just your standard Fiat van, but their Snap system involves the loading and unloading of the luggage, the parcels, the packages inside the van. And that is how wacky ideas and creations can develop into future-proofing and technologies. But of course, after all that, it would be rude to not speak with the creator himself. Thank you so much, Frank, for letting us in to your wacky world of creations.
Why do you think it's wacky? It's crazy,
it's
but
crazy.
not wacky.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know in the comments. Okay. Is it crazy or wacky? Yeah. I mean, since I was a kid, I've loved Rinspeed. I've watched it from the sQuba all the way up to the iChange. I remember seeing that when it came out at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, all the way up to the modern cars. And I think for the people at home, it's hard to understand how you can create a concept car every single year for well over 2 decades, and how that can be funded, and I guess through sponsorship, that's how you're able to create these working prototypes. So what's the secret behind your success?
Well, for one, we don't have sponsors, we have partners.
Yeah.
Because each company who contributed to the car, they give us technology and money.
Yeah.
But it's not just like labeling on Formula One or any sport. As for ideas, it's quite easy. You just, what we call it, fly to the moon.
Yeah.
And, you know, be open and then come back to reality.
Yeah.
We do not like the incremental approach, you know, to try to do just a little bit better.
Yeah.
We'd like to do it different.
Yeah, so I suppose you're allowing them to showcase their products on your cars.
Yes, of course.
So when you show your car at Geneva Motor Show or any motor show, their brand is on it, their product is on it, and that can help future development of concepts and the products like the tyres on the cars themselves as well.
Basically what we are or were, we were a marketing company.
Yeah.
And people want to have it tangible, it's concept, so it doesn't have to work flawlessly.
Yeah.
It's a vision.
Yeah.
And the suppliers used us as this platform to show off.
Yeah.
So Swiss neutrality certainly helped.
Yeah, amazing. So tangible marketing, that's what you're seeing here. But I think next is time to go to the museum down in Lucerne to see the final 6 cars that I can't wait to show you. So thank you, Frank, so much for allowing us in to see this amazing warehouse.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you. My friend Hamilton and I hopped into Frank's car where he drove us through the beautiful streets of Zurich towards the Swiss Museum of Transport. Once we arrived, we located the car section of the museum, which had a fantastic setup, a grid of cars against a wall, so many to see, but 6 of which were Rinspeed cars themselves. So we selected the first car from its history on their wall to begin with. So here it is, only the second concept car that Rinspeed produced, symbolising nostalgic and futuristic elements inspired by the Talbot Lagos. Welcome to the Rinspeed Yello Talbo. Yellow being its colour, and the Swiss electric band Yello helped produce this car. So you can tell by the swooping lines and curves, the glass window there, that this is heavily inspired by the nostalgia of Talbot Lagos. But this, with its 5-litre supercharged V8, was brought up to date for 1996. So the 2 members of the band Yello, responsible for the song The Race and Car Guys themselves, helped develop this car alongside Rinspeed. We've got more materials that Rinspeed has worked with. You've got the BBS wheels, a Remus exhaust system with quad pipes for this 320 horsepower car, 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. And have a look at this blue interior. This whole interior is decorated with precious fabrics from M.U.V, which is a Swiss brand known for their premium silk. So that was another collaboration, creating this up-to-date version of a Talbot Lago 150 SS. The chrome has been kept and preserved so well. Frank actually sold this car after he produced it to help fund other projects, and he has since bought this car back now that Rinspeed has become such an established name. So design elements like the bonnet that opens in 2 halves, the split windscreen with individual wipers wiping into each other into the middle of the car, and then those flowing lines of the beautiful door shape, and then the exposed chrome BBS wheels behind the wheel covers is what makes this car so complete as an early Rinspeed creation. Let's go to 1997. So this, the Rinspeed Mono Ego, mono being a single seater, and ego for the ego that you are required to have to drive something like this. You can notice the French tricolore flag. A French fashion designer, Jean-Charles de Castelbac, transformed this car into a mobile work of art. So this is French designed, but built by Rinspeed to celebrate their 20th anniversary. They worked closely with Dunlop to develop a high-tech tyre with a unique tread pattern that's actually continued over the wheel arch covers on it. This also has the supercharged aluminium V8 with 410 horsepower, and see if you can recognize the lights on this car. I'll go around the back as well. 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds, up to 160 miles per hour, and only weighs 960 kilograms due to its aluminium body. This is a fully road-going car. We've got more red and blue with a bit of yellow on that quirky dashboard. And though it is a single seater, the seat is off to the left-hand side just slightly. And then here at the rear, we have its rear lights from a Hyundai. It's also got the triple exhaust system, again from Remus, another partnership with Rinspeed. But I love the full tread pattern that's etched on the wheel covers as well as on the tread of those Dunlop tyres. That was the collaboration for this car when it was produced. These cars are so much cooler in person than their original press photos, and that's why I am so excited to show you all of these beautiful cars from Rinspeed. But from one single seater to another, please welcome the Rinspeed R1. Okay, this is special. I remember the press photos of this car when I was a kid, and now it's here in front of me. The Rinspeed R1. Again, can you tell the shape of the headlights? It's a bit more obvious on the rear. So when this was produced in the year 2001, it was the lowest car in the world. But that is assisted by this movable middle section. So when you're driving at low speeds, it can raise by about 30 centimeters to help with visibility behind the wheel for when you're parking. And then when you're driving at speeds, it will lower back down for better aerodynamic proportions. It also has gyro sensors, so will move around much like a motorcycle. So have a look at these wheels. They are gorgeous and really suit the lines of the car. It was inspired by both Formula One cars with its central seat position and that shape, as well as Le Mans races, and you know my obsession for Le Mans. So just 97 centimeters in height. And then the forces that react with the cockpit to move it around, to lean into turns like a motorbike. But this one does not have a V8 like the ones we've just seen. This has a 1.8 cylinder, 4-cylinder engine with 120 horsepower, 5-speed manual, and the car weighs just 750 kilograms. Look at that gorgeous paintwork. It's been preserved so well. And welcome to the rear lights from an Audi TT. This rear end actually has a lot more presence than you'd expect. It's still small, but has a lot of width about it. And you've got so much ventilation in the back there for its 1.8 litre engine that actually runs on biofuel made from kitchen and garden waste, and was the first ever sports car to be able to run on kitchen and garden waste biofuel, and this was 2001. But goodbye to the R1 and hello to a car that my friend Hamilton has been so excited and looking forward to seeing. This is the big one. Please, ladies and gentlemen, raise your hats and welcome the Rinspeed Bedouin. Well, we're going to start right at the very top, the front of this car, the 996 Porsche 911 headlights, for this was a Porsche 911 Turbo. This car was produced the same year as the Porsche Cayenne, but was in no way related to the Cayenne. This is Rinspeed's own lifted Porsche 911, and yes, it is a genuine 911 Turbo. Have a look at that color flip paint job. It is beautiful, and we have various elements of Swarovski crystal around the car, including the logos and its interior. Even on the tops of the steering wheel, you've still got your classic 996 interior there, but with more Swarovski elements within. This is a work of art, and it's not just that, because this is the 911 pickup, or it can be, because this roofline and rear flap can lower and create a pickup. It can extend out as well, even further for more practicality, or you can keep it up for your practical 2+2 Porsche 911. You've got these massive ducts feeding the rear engine, and talking of the rear, these rear lights. Vauxhall Corsa C, anyone? We've got the Rinspeed Swarovski crystals there, and this is absolutely stunning. The paintwork, everything about it, the split rims, the chunky off-roading Continental tyres, even the shape of the bumper is different to that of the Porsche 911. This is one of the cars that we've been here to see. So the Bedouin are Arab desert tribes. This is meant to be a desert car. At the push of a button, it can be transformed into that pickup style. So 2 electric motors drive drag screws to move the entire roof of the vehicle from roof and rear hatch to a pickup bed in just under 10 seconds with this 420 horsepower Porsche 911 Turbo with adjustable iMAX suspension that sits 15 centimeters higher than a 996, and is the entire reason that Hamilton's come all the way to Zurich with me, because he's in love.
Look at this thing. This is wild. Absolutely wild.
But imagine this seating position with these are Porsche 911 gear sticks on the top of the steering wheel, and then of course on top of the gear stick, the Swarovski crystal. It's such a nice place to be. And then if you look above as well, you can see the translucent screen, an airy interior that can fold down into a Porsche 911 Rinspeed pickup truck. But let's put it back in its house and go to the Rinspeed Senso. So take it all in if you can. Inspired by Swiss architecture is the Rinspeed Senso. Now we'll go into why it's called the Senso in a little bit, but have a look at the design, the architecture of the car itself. A 3-seater, again with a central driving position. Such a wacky interior, and then metallic RGB color on the paintwork of this Senso. This car senses your emotions using watches and various other sensors in the car, and can provide sounds, even smells, to help calm you down or exhilarate you. It's even got vibrating seats to wake you up if you fall a little bit sleepy. A true open top car. Apparently vanilla and mandarin has a calming effect, while citrus and grapefruit is more stimulating when you're driving along. So this actually has a Porsche Boxer engine, the 3.2 litre Boxer engine from the Boxster S. And if you want to call them doors, this is exactly what they are. So the hinge is at the back, and this panel here raises up with the other side. You can see the hinges here to allow for passenger access. You can see again Porsche gear stick, Porsche Speedo from the Cayman in the Senso with the chrome wheels. Such a wacky visual design. But I love how obviously for aero you've got cover over the number plates, but then you've got massive ducts here that house the front lights. And then these gigantic sculptures atop the mid-mounted Boxer engine to help with its cooling around to the rear, and those rear lights, and more of this blue that you saw over the front that extends over the middle of the car. More inspiration from modern architecture of its day. A person who is relaxed and wide awake simply drives better and more safely, is the quote from Rinspeed as we say goodbye to the Senso and hello to the final car of this collection in the museum, the microMAX from 2013. This car was one of Rinspeed's first attempts at micro city mobility, and the paintwork is gorgeous on it, just to distract you for a start. But this entire car, it's tall enough to stand up inside, but it's only the length of a BMW Mini Cooper. It's got 3 seats for your rear passengers, but you're almost perched on them to add more room, so you can still fit your buggy, your pram, maybe even a bicycle inside, but have comfortable seating for enough people around town. So its height is where it really excels in its space-saving qualities. And much like a modified car you'd see back home, you've got all of the partners that have worked with Rinspeed to create this concept for city dwelling. Here the map on the side perfectly describes how it can live in its own ecosystem. And as part of that community driving, it comes with an app which creates its own community of potential riders who can enter their destination, and using the cloud, information about routes and destinations, traveling speeds and occupancies, can create an efficient travel network. So the car comes with its own network and its own coffee machine inside as well, you can see, so you can make yourself a coffee whilst you're being ridden around. So it's effectively a taxi, but a modern version. Though saying modern, this being from the year 2013, is 13 years old now, but the concept itself still seems just as modern. But we travelled back to Rinspeed HQ, and here we are concluding this mega trip. This has been amazing. Like, as I said earlier in the video, I loved Rinspeed ever since I was younger. I didn't want to, age myself, but literally I had a Bebo account, which is where my name AdamC3046 came from Bebo. That was a competitor to Facebook, and I had a concept car fan page on Bebo that I created when I was younger, basically devoted to Rinspeed. And I remember so many of these cars, and now they're all one-offs and they're all here. All of the concept cars, we've seen them all today. So let me know your favourite in the comments down below. And if you've got any other ideas for other concept car places I can go to, then let me know as well. I hope you enjoyed that video from Rinspeed, and it's opened your eyes to the Swiss brilliance of automotive design and conceptual craziness. It's just been mega. But for now, thanks for watching.